All right, guys, recently we had a contest on my server, and massive shout out to Mia and the other mods and everybody who participated in this tournament, because I literally had nothing to do with this tournament. I did not do a single thing to help with this. I've been busy with a lot of other things. So shout out to everybody in the server, shout out to the mods. Thank you guys so much for hosting this contest, for participating in this contest, and I can't wait to see what you guys have made. So this contest was a contest where we had 4 different teams. So you can see here we're looking at the Team 1 banner, and the other threads we have Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4. We'll be going over those different teams and what they made. So the goal here was for them to make a banner for My Hero Ultra Impact. That banner includes, from my understanding, a UR character, an SR character, a UR memory, and an SR memory. Now the thing is, not all of these characters are necessarily going to be from My Hero Academia. They could be from anywhere. Some of them might be from My Hero Academia. It just depends on what the team was feeling. So it'll be fun to kind of go over these, and at the end I want you guys to go and take a look at the YouTube poll that I'm going to put up. I will put up an option for Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4, and I want you guys to vote for the team that you think made the best banner for My Hero Ultra Impact. So with that said, let's hop right into Team 1's banner here. We can already kind of see what they got. So they have a number 1 reptile, Haboku Mongoose. I apologize if I pronounce any of these wrong ahead of time. I'm not the best with pronunciations. And okay, so here we go. Plus Ultra is called Apex Finisher, deals 675% damage to a single opponent, decreases the opponent's max HP by 20% for 3 turns, and reduces their Plus Ultra gauge by 15%. High chance 75% of paralyzing the opponent for 2 turns, and low chance 20% of paralyzing all other opponents for 1 turn. A high chance of paralyzing is insanely good, and a low chance of paralyzing the others is kind of nice actually, but that's just for 1 turn on the others, so it's balanced. Honestly, not too OP. I would call that a fairly decent Plus Ultra, so good job on that, not making it too cracked, not too weak at the same time. You've done a good job with that. The action skill 1 is called Carnivorous Takedown, 4-turn cooldown. Deals 375% damage to a single opponent, decreases the opponent's defense by 20%. This attack's skill impact is increased by 40% and gains bullseye if the opponent is a class 1A character. Medium chance 40% of applying fear to all enemies for 3 turns. Okay, that's good. Yeah, nothing to complain about there. Action skill 2, Paralyzing Glare. It has a 6-turn cooldown, increases skill impact of all allies by 15% for 2 turns. Medium chance 50% of paralyzing all opponents for 1 turn if any enemies are hiding. Remove the hiding buff from the opponents and prevents all opponents from being able to hide for 3 turns. That's interesting because some characters have like permanent hiding, so I'd be interested to see how that actually works out in the game. And then medium chance 40% of blocking the recovery of all class 1A characters for 3 turns. Honestly, I still don't know how I feel about recovery block. Like, it's decent, but like I don't know. I feel like block buffs is technically just the better version of recovery block. So I mean, it's not bad though, so decent, but a 6-turn cooldown on that, that's crazy. That's a pretty long cooldown for a UR character. Auto skill 1, Vigilance. 1 character receives an attack by an opponent, low chance 20% of causing the opponent to become paralyzed for 2 turns. Reduces damage to all allies by 35% if there are any opponents who are hiding. That's kind of cool. If there are no opponents that are hiding, character gains piercing shot against paralyzed opponents. Oh, okay. Auto skill 2. Anything a mongoose can. Increases character speed by 5% up to a max of 50%, and skill impact by 5% up to a max of 50% whenever character receives an attack by a class 1A student. So that's interesting because that means they won't have the turn 1 speed advantage. So I don't know how I really feel about that. Like, getting the skill impact up to 50%, that's insane. And the fact that you can stack speed over time is okay, but like, I would assume that's permanent, right? It doesn't say for a certain amount of turns, so that means permanent, right? Up to 50%. But that's still not great because that means at the start of battle, you're not going to have any speed. And stacking speed, in my opinion, is not the greatest. So you've kind of gone a little underwhelming on the speed, in my opinion, but the skill impact will be really, really good. And then if Bakugo is on the enemy character's team, character's defense is increased by 20%. If character speed is 50% or higher, character becomes agile. Okay, that is the agile effect is pretty good. How, if your speed is 50% or higher, can that be from a memory, or are you you just talking about the 50% here? That is a little bit of a question in my mind, because if you can get that 50% speed from a memory technically and have agile right away, then that's actually pretty decent. That's not bad. But once again, the whole thing with the stacking speed, I'm not the biggest fan of, but overall pretty decent kit. And then we have the art there for the character that they had in mind. So once again, that character was called Haboku Mongoose, #1 reptile. And there you go. The UR memory is called Best Friends Forever. If there are any Class 1A students on the team, makes character ecstatic for the first 3 turns of a wave. Also increases character's plus ultra gauge by 5% up to 20 times whenever an allied Class A student receives an attack. Multi-hit attacks count as 1 attack. Very cute art. I wish there was something maybe in here for speed or something like that to help the character out a little bit. I don't know, but decent. And then we have the SR character, Biological Terror, Romero Fujimi. Plus ultra move is called Virus Unleashed. Deals 400% damage to a single opponent. This skill lands a bullseye, inflicts opponent with zombie virus for 3 turns. This effect cannot be nullified or canceled. Wow, you might have made, I think you got the characters backwards, because this is looking sick. This looks like a UR character. Deals 100% damage to all other opponents and 100% damage to all allies, excluding character. This attack has a 30% chance of inflicting all other opponents and allies, excluding character, with zombie virus for 2 turns. I assume they're going to tell us what zombie virus is down here, maybe? Yeah, zombie virus. Let's see what that is real quick. Zombie virus, while debuff is active, character cannot take any damage. Bro, dodge attacks, hide, or use skills. Characters plus ultra gauge cannot increase for duration of debuff. Also causes characters' normal attacks to target allies and enemies at random and have a 30% chance of inflicting their target with zombie virus. Okay, so they can't take damage from your team? Is that how I'm reading this? And they also can't dodge or hide, but whenever they go to attack, they will attack each other, if I'm understanding that right. I could be completely wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm misunderstanding that. But that's just kind of how I read it at first glance. So interesting. Action skill 1, Survival Tactics, 6-turn cooldown. If Katsuki Bakugo is on the enemy team, gives character the ability to draw aggro for 2 turns and reduces damage to character by 30%. If all Katsuki Bakugos on the enemy team are defeated or are not on the enemy team at all, character becomes ecstatic for 2 turns, gets the ability to hide for 2 turns, and removes 1 debuff from all allies. Okay, so potentially from the start of battle, they could be hiding or drawing aggro, which is interesting. Okay, cool. And then action skill 2, I actually really like that idea. Action skill 2, Zombie Gas Charge Up. 6-turn and 8-turn cooldowns, by the way, really long cooldowns. Increases, which is fair for an SR character. That's probably what makes them an SR character, even though they have all this crazy stuff. Increases characters plus ultra gauge by 50%. Medium chance, 40% of causing all opponents to become afraid for 1 turn. Low chance, 10% of causing all opponents to become afraid for 2 turns. So yeah, really good effects, but long cooldowns. Auto skill 1, Condescending Rivalry. If Katsuki Bakugo is on the enemy team, increases character's defense by 25% and character becomes ecstatic for 3 turns at the start of battle. Also, when character receives an attack from Katsuki Bakugo, increases character's power by 15% for 3 turns. When character is ecstatic, increases character's paralysis and bind resistances. That's pretty good. Auto skill 2, Isamu Pride. Increases character speed by 4% up to a max of 20%. Whoa, why are we doing this stacking speed? Ugh, I'm not the biggest fan. And plus ultra skill impact by 4% up to a max of 20% for every UA high student on the team. Oh, actually, that could be decent. Never mind. Stacking speed based on the amount of characters you have on your team is not terrible. Up to 20%, so 20% speed boost on himself. Like for an SR character, that's actually not bad. Okay, and that can be at the start of a turn, so that's actually not bad. Reduces character speed by 4% up to a max of 20%, and plus ultra move skill impact up to a max of 20% for every UA high student on your team. Now I'm confused. Oh, that's on the enemy team. Okay. And then for every UA high student on your team, you are reducing your speed. So you don't want to run UA high students and you'll get that speed buff. Okay, interesting. Also, increases characters plus ultra gauge by 5% when character receives a hit while drawing aggro. Okay, and then there you have the art for that. Pretty good stuff. And last but not least, we have our SR memory. It is called One of Us. Increases character's critical hit chance by 25%, love that for an SR memory, and increases character's resistance to zombie virus. When character receives a hit by an ally or opponent with zombie virus, character becomes agile for 1 turn up to 3 turns. Okay, that's pretty good. So it's like a counter to zombie virus in an SR memory. So All of that looks very, very interesting. I like the idea. This is from the OVA, right? I'm pretty sure that's what this is from. I think you told us at the top, actually, that these are all from the, from the OVA Training of the Dead. So if you guys haven't seen that, that's what this is from. But yeah, I like the kits. I like the ideas behind them. Very, very interesting. You know, you guys let me know what you think in the comments if you are watching this of Team 1. Now let's take a look at Team 2. Team 2's idea here was the joint training arc, so that's what these are going to be featured around. And so the UR character is going to be Izuku Midoriya. That which is inherited, plus ultra move is called Blind Rage. Black Whip Unleashed deals 700% damage to a single opponent. It already is looking better than the other Deku, the Black Whip Deku we have in the game, the purple one. Deals 700% damage to a single opponent with a medium chance of binding all opponents for 2 turns. That's good. Medium chance to bind all opponents is insane. For 2 turns, insane. Increases character's power by 30% for 4 turns and increases plus ultra gauge of all allies by 25%. This skill gains piercing shot if character has resilience. That's really cool to be able to get plus ultra gauge off of a plus ultra, so immediately afterwards they already have part of their plus ultra gauges back. That's really, really good actually. I like that plus ultra move a lot. Action skill 1 Delaware Smash, Air Force Kick. Deals 325% damage to a single opponent with a medium chance of blocking 2 of the opponent's temporary buffs. The opponent's for 2 turns. Increases character's plus ultra gauge by 30% and gives 1 ally the ability to hide for 3 turns. I like that as long as you... I wonder if you can choose the ally though, because this is a targeted attack on the enemy. Is it going to be random? Because right now we don't really have a way to target which ally you're using on an attack skill as well. So it'd be interesting to see how that works in the game. Just the game mechanics, I don't know if they would allow for that. So it would probably be a random ally that you're hiding. So hard to say. Cooldown time at 3 though, that's pretty good. I like the 3-turn cooldowns. Action skill 2, Air Force Wide Sweep, deals 400% damage to all opponents and decreases their speed by 20% for 3 turns. I love that. Gives character the ability to cover for 1 turn and reduces damage dealt to character by 60% for 2 turns. Okay, yes. Also increases plus ultra gauge of all allies by 20%. Cooldown time of 4. I really like this kit. This is what Black Whip Deku should have been. Auto skill 1, The Time Has Come, increases character speed and critical skill impact by 30% for 3 turns at the start of battle. Love that. When attacked by a class 1B character, decreases the opponent's defense by 20% for 3 turns. Great. Auto skill 2, I Don't Want Anyone to Worry, gives character the ability to make a last stand 2 times when battle starts. When character falls below 40% HP, character gains resilience and regenerates 15% of max HP up to 1 time. When character has resilience, increases defensive power of all allies. Ooh, allies by 20%. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love this kit. I kind of love this Deku just because I hate the one, the actual one that's in the game so much. He's just not very good. So yeah, this is a very nice kit. Okay, next we have the SR character Setsuna Tokage. All right, naturally gifted. So this is, I wonder if they put a picture down here. Yeah, this is the girl that breaks apart there for you. So in case you don't know who that is, as we go through this, the plus ultra move is called Lizardy Chop. Deals 400% damage to an opponent. Increases character's critical hit rate by 20% for 3 turns. Medium chance 35% of stunning the opponent for 1 turn. If the character is hiding, high chance 70% of stunning the opponent for 1 turn. Okay, pretty good. Stunts are always good, right? Action skill 1, Body Part Barrage, has a 6-turn cooldown and a 7-turn cooldown, so befitting of a SR character. So I feel like you guys have been giving SR characters like these really cool abilities, but then you're giving them really bad cooldowns. Otherwise, they'd be worthy of being URs, right? So it kind of makes sense. Deals 300% damage to a single opponent. Low chance 20% of confusing the opponent for 1 turn. High chance 50% if the character is hiding to confuse them, apparently, but I'm interested to know how you're going to target them if they're hiding. That's a question in my mind, unless it's like the last character standing, but yeah, because it is a single target attack. If it was an AoE, I'd understand, so kind of weird how that one works out. Gives the character the ability to evade 2 times as well, so that's good. Just a little bit of a question on this particular skill though, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me the way it's worded at least. Action skill 2, Gotta Split, 7-turn cooldown, increases character speed by 20% and gives character the ability to hide for 2 turns. Nice. Oh, higher chance if the character is hiding. I get it now. It's higher chance if Setsuna is hiding here, because if she is hiding, then she'll have a higher chance to confuse. That makes sense. I thought it was based on the enemy hiding. Okay, now it makes more sense because she's going to be able to hide herself with this skill here for 2 turns. Also gives character the ability to evade all incoming attacks for 1 turn. Okay, that's actually sick. All attacks for 1 turn, that's freaking broken. I love that. We need that on a UR character, or we just need to make barriers better because they're trying to push this barrier stuff on us. But auto skill 1, early bird gets the worm, gives character composure for 2 turns at the start of a wave, increases speed of all allies by 25% for 3 turns at the start of a wave. Love that. Amazing. Are we about to use an SR character in PvP? I think so, if that was a thing. Also increases character speed by 20% when character has evasion. Yes, very good for it's weird because you built an SR character almost for like PvP, and normally we don't use SR characters in PvP, so that's really, really interesting. Auto skill 2, seize the opportunity. When character is hiding, reduces all opponents' stun resistance by 20% and increases character's critical hit chance by 20%. Whenever the character defeats an opponent, gives all allies composure for 3 turns, reduces character's cooldown time by 1 whenever the character evades 4 attacks. Okay, and she also has 50% bind resistance just innately, which is pretty dang good. So compress, who's compress, right? That's good. All right, the UR memory is called 4-0, no casualties. Love this art. Increases character's power by 45% when equipped by a strength type character. When character scores a critical hit on an opponent, decreases the opponent's defense and critical resistance by 15% for 3 turns, and increases the character's speed and critical hit impact by 15% for 3 turns. Okay, interesting memory there. I don't know how I feel about like you having to score a critical hit to get the extra speed, but like, I mean, potentially that's a lot. Is it anytime you hit a crit? When the character scores a critical hit on an opponent, decreases the opponent's defense. So anytime you score a crit, that could be really interesting, right? So the idea here is you're giving an extra 15% crit resistance, and it's also going to give an extra this character's speed and critical hit impact by 15% for 3 turns as well. So all those are going up by 15% for 3 turns every time you land a crit. So what if you have someone like Green Ida on your team who's going to give double attacks to your allies, because this has to be on a strength character, right? And that strength character gets their action skill attack. They get both of their normal attacks, and all 3 of those come out as crits. That's 3 times 15% in 1 turn. That stacks over the duration of 3 turns. You could have a very, very fast and strong character. So that is it's a sleeper memory right there. Something people wouldn't expect to be good till you stop and actually read it. So that is actually, that might be one of the most insane memories, honestly. And then for the SR memory, it is called Knock It Off. Reduces defense of all Class B students by 20% for the first 3 turns of a battle. Character gains 1 use of evasion each turn up to 2 times. And then if used by an ABL type character, character gains bind resistance. Pretty good for an SR memory. And that was the Team 2 banner. I'm not going to lie, I really like the Team 2 banner, but they also had a really cool theme to work with. And it's not hard to make me happy with the Black Whip Deku when the current one in the game is kind of, not the greatest. All right, let's take a look at Team 3. For Team 3, we have the Heroes Rising theme. Okay, so I am so interested in this. So we have a dual unit to start off with. Is this the one I think it is? Is this the Deku? It is. It's the Deku and Bakugo. We need this unit in the game. Actually, okay, I can't wait to read this. Okay, there's so much here. Look at how much text there is. There would be this much text though, with this type of character. It makes sense. All right, power passed through friendship. Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo, and it looks like it's an exchange unit potentially. Is that what this is going to mean? We'll see. Plus ultra move called Clearing Sky Detroit Smash, deals 500% damage to all opponents, and this skill has a 100% chance to land a critical hit. That's sick. Ignoring the opponent's critical damage down. If the character is ecstatic, this skill gains bullseye as well. Beautiful. Yeah, give this ability everything. If this character has persistence, increases this skill impact by 45%. Freaking gorgeous. AoE, guaranteed crit, extra skill impact, has bullseye, everything I'd want from this unit. Action skill 1, Izuku Midoriya, sound breaking charge, deals 400% damage to a single opponent and increases character speed by 35% for 3 turns. If character is ecstatic, increases all allies speed by 20%. Ooh, and increases all allies critical hit rate by 25% for 3 turns. Also, if the opponent's speed is lower than character, this skill gains bullseye. Ooh, so you want him to be fast. Cooldown time of 5, not bad at all. Now for the exchange unit, Katsuki Bakugo, action skill 1, Ultimate Heat Explosion Smash, deals 325% damage to all opponents, and this skill has a high chance to burn the opponent. So we go from a single target to an AoE. If the opponent is already burning, increases the skill's damage by 25%, decreases the opponent's speed by 30%, so he'll decrease speed while this one increases speed, okay. If used in a second or later successfully executed skill chain and has a technical. Also decreases the opponent's defense depending on character's power up, 1% equals 1%. Cooldown of 5 turns, so same cooldowns. I like it so far though. Okay, action skill 2. Action skill 2 is where you don't have either or, it's you are using them together, it looks like. So action skill 2, 2 for all. Makes character ecstatic for 3 turns and increases character's power by 35% for 3 turns, increases all allies' critical hit rate and critical skill impact by 35% for 2 turns, increases character speed and defense by 25% for 3 turns. Also, if character's critical hit rate is above 60%, further increases the duration of this skill's buff by 1 turn, switches tag character and gives tag character the ability to make a last stand. Okay, so this is actually how you switch your character. So this is going to be the same for both characters essentially. It doesn't matter which character you're using, they're going to both have this skill, and then each time you use this it will switch out your character. Okay, interesting. Stackable up to 5 times, cooldown time of 6 to make it a little bit fair. Yeah, high cooldowns to make this fair, probably okay. Auto skill 1, heroes overcome anything. Increases character speed, power, and critical hit rate by 5% for every hero ally on the team. Okay, excluding characters, so that's pretty decent. You can basically get 5 times 4 is 20%, so 20%. Every time this character loses 20% of their max HP, increases character's defense by 10%. Ooh, that's cool. Once when a fatal hit is dealt on this character, gives character persistence for 3 turns and increases character's critical hit rate by 50%. Inflicts bleeding for 1 turn to this character every turn. I prefer like more persistence. We've already seen with like full 100% Deku a 5-turn persistence. I'd prefer a little bit longer than 3 turns if possible. So just keep that in mind. Auto skill 2, clear light splitting the shadows of evil. Once per turn when this character lands a crit using an action skill or plus ultra, reduces character skill cooldown by 1. Okay, I like it because he had 6 and 5 turn cooldowns. That's fair. That's completely fair if it's once per turn. While using an action skill or plus ultra. Normal attacks don't count. Okay, good. Also, when this character lands 4 critical hits, increases critical skill impact by 7%, stackable, love that. And then decreases all villain opponents' defense by 35% for 4 turns. Goodbye, compress once again. And then when this character receives damage from bleeding, reduces the opponent's power, speed, and defense by 6%. So when he goes into persistence, you're reducing all that on opponents as well. Okay. Also, when a skill is used on a second or later successfully executed skill chain, increases the plus ultra gauge of all allies by 20%. Every bit as broken as I would want it to be. Beautiful. We have the art there. Tag character explanation. Tag character is a part of the character that is defined by the character's names. The first name is the first part of the character, and the second name is the other part of the character. Tag characters' buffs cannot be shared to the 2 parts. Character buffs are shared by the 2 parts. Example, increases character's power by 20%. This increases the power of both parts. When a debuff / status element is inflicted on the character, it only applies on the part that is fighting. Ooh, okay. When a part is switched out, pauses the debuff status elements, which can't be nullified. When a part is switched out, pauses tag character's buffs, but not the character's buffs. Okay, so basically, buffs for these characters will be shared, but debuffs will be split. And so like if Bakugo is burning, that doesn't mean Deku will be burning. However, that doesn't mean the burning goes away as soon as you switch him out. When he comes back into rotation, he will still be burning, from my understanding. Okay, if I'm understanding that right. Now for the UR memory, it is called Final Smash. Reduces bleeding damage by 30%. At 35% at level 2 and 40% at level 3 when equipped by a UA high class 1A character. Gives character the ability to nullify 2 status elements up to 3 times, and then when used in a 3rd successfully executed skill chain. I don't know if the bleeding is all that good because they're only bleeding when they're in persistence, so it's like okay, that part, but the ability to nullify status elements, I do think that's pretty decent. And then DX increases plus ultra skill impact of all UA high class 1A students on the team by 50%. That is really good, so DXing this memory would definitely be worth it. Okay, and then for the SR character, oh, we finally have an Aoyama. We still don't have one in the game. SR Aoyama, I can't stop twinkling. Plus Ultra is called Supernova. deals 550% damage to a single opponent, low chance 20% of binding the opponent for 2 turns, decreases the character's speed and defense by 20%, also gives character the ability to hide for 2 turns. Action skill 1 is called Naval Buffet Laser, deals 350% damage to all opponents, decreases all opponents' skill impact by 15%, cooldown time of 5. Action skill 2, Naval Saber, deals 400% to a single opponent. This skill gains piercing shot, also increases the skill's skill impact by 20%, a cooldown time of 6. Auto skill 1, Can't Stop Twinkling, increases skill impact and defense by 20%, also increases defense by 15% when affected by skill impact down. Auto skill 2, I Want to Be Equal, increases speed and critical hit rate up by 20%. Also, once character is hiding, regenerates HP by 15% for 3 turns. All really good skills. 5 and 6 turn cooldowns, once again, are kind of what hold him back from being better. And of course, SR stats are typically always going to be lower than like UR stats, which is another thing that holds SRs back. But overall, I like the design for Aoyama. And then for the SR memory, UA Hero Agency gives character the ability to evade 1 time if equipped by a UA high student, increases character speed by a certain percentage when HP is above 50%. Okay, I like that. That's insanely good for an SR memory, evasion and speed. Gives allies 10% PU gauge when used in a third successfully executed skill chain up to 2 times. That's also really good. This is insanely good memory. This is actually, that should almost be your UR memory because that's very, very good. But interesting picture you've chosen there. I like it. I like it. Let's take a look at Team 4. Once again, this has been Team 3, and their theme was Heroes Rising. Okay, so Team 4's theme was the Forest Camp arc, and we have the Brutal Tendencies Muscular to start with. I have been waiting for a UR Muscular in the game. Honestly, all these themes have been so hyped. They're things that we need in the game, I'm not gonna lie. So let's freaking go. Plus Ultra move is called Show Me Your Blood. Deals 700% damage to a single opponent, high chance 90% to inflict bleed on an opponent for 3 turns. Increases character's max health by 20% for 3 turns. Gives character the ability to nullify normal attacks, which is sick, and action skills until character has been attacked 4 times. Yo, that's pretty cool. I think you could do more than 4 times, honestly, but that basically gives him a turn and a half of invincibility at the start of battle. Or not even start of battle, it's whenever he uses a plus ultra. Okay, yeah, that's okay. 4 times is plenty. That's kind of sick. That's really good. Action skill 1, Muscle Burst, deals 450% damage to a single opponent, high chance 85% to inflict bleed on an opponent for 2 turns, increases status element damage of the target opponent by 30% for 2 turns. Oh, I love that. Is it all status element damage? Because if that's for like, if you put other status elements on the enemy, like burns and stuff from other characters, and you increase that damage by 30%, that's pretty freaking good. 3 turn cooldown as well. Action skill 2 is called Playtime's Over, deals 450% damage to a single opponent, gives character the ability to draw aggro for 2 turns, so he's a tank, which cannot be dispelled or negated, gives character the ability to nullify normal attacks for 2 turns as well with this action skill, bruh. Decreases the action skill damage to the character by 45% for 2 turns as well, cooldown time of 4. Okay, very good. Good cooldowns, good taking ability, the ability to increase status element damage, the ability to nullify attacks. It's crazy. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say right now, when they finally put Muscular in the game as a UR version, well, he's probably not going to be this good, but we'll see. Auto skill 1, Bloodthirsty, at the beginning of a wave, decreases damage to character by 45% for 2 turns, makes character ecstatic for 3 turns at the beginning of the battle. When character is ecstatic, increases max health by 20% and defense by 35%. When character takes damage 5 times, makes character ecstatic for 2 turns. So he also gets ecstatic as he's taking damage, which is good. Make sure he gets his plus ultra just to give himself even more damage reduction. Auto skill 2, Cold-Blooded, every time this character takes damage, increases power and speed by 2%, stacking for 4 turns. When character goes below 50% of their max health for the first time, they gain the ability to make a last stand 1 time and gain damage nullification for 1 turn. All very good. The one thing I would like to see on this Muscular to make him a little bit more viable overall is give him some sort of speed at the start of battle, because as it stands, characters who don't have some sort of speed at the start of battle always end up not being very good in PvP. for whatever reason. Okay, so if you could give him just a little bit of speed for himself or speed for villain allies or something like that, I feel like it would make him a little bit better. But overall, I honestly really like this kit for this muscular. Next, we have the SR character, Promises Well Kept, Izuku Midoriya. We have his plus ultra move, 1,000,000% Detroit Delaware Smash, deals 500% damage to a single opponent, inflicts some of the damage dealt to himself. Great. Yep. If the character is bleeding, removes all of the character's buffs and increases the skill's power and skill impact by 45%. So he removes his own buffs. That's the way that reads. Okay, that's not good. Low chance of stunning the opponent for 2 turns. I think he just decided to make the worst possible SR, unless it gets better here with the other stuff. But that plus ultra ain't it. That definitely ain't it. Action skill 1, Detroit Smash, deals 300% damage to a single opponent. If character speed is increased, decreases the opponent's critical hit rate by 25% for 3 turns. If the opponent has aggro or is covering, increases the skill's power by 25%. Okay, that one's fine. 3-turn cooldown. Action skill 2, evasive maneuvers, increases character speed by 30% for 3 turns. If an ally's HP is below 50%, character gains sharp eye for 3 turns and hides the ally for 2 turns. Okay, that's pretty good. If the opponent has bullseye, increases character's max HP by 30% for 2 turns. Okay, these are fine. Auto skill 1, Hero's Purpose, increases character's power and speed by 20%. When character is bleeding, character gains Overwhelm for 2 turns up to 3 times. When character's HP is below 30%, increases character's plus ultra gauge by 60% and gives character the ability to use Last Stand 2 times. Auto skill 2, if I could scroll correctly, is called Beatdown's Effects. Character bleeds for 3 turns every 4 turns. There's them. Great, he hurts himself. For every turn that the character is bleeding, increases character skill impact and action skill impact by 10%. At least I guess he gets that extra, but whenever he stops bleeding, the effect resets. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this character. There's a lot of good things and things I really don't like about him. I always detest the Dekus in the game that harm themselves or hurt themselves. They're just, Okay, the UR memory is that all you've got. Increases character's max health by 30%. When character is ecstatic, increases critical resistance by 45% and increases resistance against stuns and binds. That's insanely good for the current PvP meta. This is a really good memory just because of that. Also restores character's health by 20% for 2 turns the first time they go below 50% of their max health. Okay, not bad at all. Once again, I would go for maybe a little bit of speed in there. While it's good that it gives you resistances, it gives you extra max HP and stuff like that, if you don't have speed, you're trading out a speed memory now to run this in potentially PvP. I don't know. Speed matters a lot in PvP. I wish it didn't matter as much, but unfortunately right now I would say it still matters a lot. For the SR memory, Drowning Out the Dark increases character's max HP and critical hit resistance by 15% when equipped by an ABL type character. When a character's buffs are removed, gives character immunity to buff block for 2 turns and regenerates HP by 10% for 3 turns up to 2 times. You know what? Giving immunity to buff block on an SR memory, kind of nuts. That's kind of really good. And then I think they had some bonus stuff down here. So yeah, we'll go through this bonus stuff really quickly. But I guess when you make your decision, just base it on these memories and these characters right here. The muscular though, very sick. Okay, so this bonus stuff here, we'll go ahead and talk about that. So we got a SR Death Row Moonfish, and this would be the event character that comes out alongside the banner, right? And then we have the event memory below. Other people didn't do event characters and memories, so keep that in mind. Plus ultra move is Don't Steal From Me. Deals 550% damage to a single opponent, high chance of inflicting bleed on the opponent for 3 turns. If character's HP is above 50%, this skill gains Piercing Shot. Action skill 1, Blade Tooth, deals 250% damage to all opponents, decreases all opponents' defense by 30% for 3 turns, low chance of inflicting bleed on all opponents for 3 turns. Action skill 2, Overwhelming Frustration, increases character's critical hit rate by 25% for 3 turns. If character's HP is above 50%, increases character skill impact by 20% for 2 turns, cooldown time of 4. Auto skill 1, Hunger for Flesh, increases character's critical hit rate by 5% at the end of each turn up to 5 times if character lands 2 or more hits. Increases character's max HP by 10% up to 3 times if character isn't able to land more than 3 attacks. Increases character speed and power by 30% for 3 turns. That's pretty good for an SR character. I've been waiting for this character to come to the game too. Who knows when and if characters like this will come to the game because they were so minor, right? But it would be nice to see the minor characters eventually come to the game. Auto skill 2, Unhinged Psycho, character gains Overwhelm for 3 turns when character's HP is below 30%. Character restores HP by 15% for every attack landed on the bleeding opponent. And then the SR memory. Break of Dawn increases speed by 20% when equipped by an int type character. When character increases an ally's max health, power, or speed, increases defense of all allies by 5% for 7 turns as well. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a stacking defense buff whenever things get increased. Like that could be a sleeper, like really, really good SR memory. That could be one of the best SR memories there are. That reminds me of like Pinky with its secret stacking and stuff like that. That's what this would be right here. This could be very, very good. So yeah, I recognize that as a memory that could be insanely good. But that is Team 4 stuff right there. So like I said, I will post a community poll. I want you guys to go and vote. Out of these 4 teams, who do you think made the best banners? Really quickly, Team 4 was the Forest Camp Arc, and then we'll go to Team 3 next, and Team 3 was the Heroes Rising, and Team 2 was the Joint Training Arc, and Team 1 was the OVA Training of the Dead. So let me know what you guys liked in the comments, what you didn't like. Do you agree with my opinions on a few of these characters, the memories, the things that should be changed? Do you think they're perfect the way they are? You know, show some love to the people who created these. Let them know in the comments who's you like the best. And once again, make sure you check out the YouTube community page for that poll, and make sure you vote and show these guys some love. And I will try to give the winning team the option in the Discord for any one general emote they want. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, and hitting that subscribe button for the channel. Peace.